What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics, and today we got a reaction to the Alice Cooper Band and their second album, Easy Action, brought to us by a friend, longtime supporter, and patron of the channel, Carl. Thank you, Carl. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the patrons who make this thing go. If you'd like to support us in any way, check out that Patreon link below or the patron link on the end screen. We could not do it without the patrons. Our last month we did Pretties for You, the debut from Alice Cooper Band. We're going to run all of the Alice Cooper Band. If you haven't watched that video, I don't want to ruin it for you. I gave it the lowest score I've ever given anything in the history of this channel. And I don't know, we have close to 3,000 videos up, but that really wasn't their fault at all. So let's see how this second album comes about. I don't think it's going to be great either, but I think it's going to be better than that one. It was released in 1970. It was the last album before producer extraordinaire Bob Ezrin would take the reins and forever change the course of Alice Cooper. It did not chart, and the title comes from a line from one of the band's favorite films, the musical West Side Story. None of Easy Action's songs have been performed live by Cooper since the tour in support of their third album, Love It to Death. Same one with the debut album on there. For this album, David Briggs played the producer's role and assisted in creating an album that was still focused on psychedelic influences, but was less avant-garde than their debut, Pretties for You. Part of the shift was undoubtedly due to Briggs' influence, who at that stage was already well established with Neil Young, having co-produced his album Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere. We have a review of that up from years and years ago. But it's also fair to say that Briggs didn't connect with the band in the same manner as Ezrin would when recording Love It to Death. According to Alice Cooper drummer Neil Smith, Briggs had called Alice Cooper's music psychedelic blank. It was in relation to the song Lay Down and Die Goodbye, so context is important for the song is psychedelic acid rock by nature. Shep Gordon, of course Cooper's longtime manager, described to Mark Maron that following a chance meeting with David Briggs and upon explaining the recording process of Pretties for You, which I won't go into, but it's in that video and it's awful what they did to these guys, he was told by Briggs that this is not how music was written and recorded. Being instantly schooled on the matter, Gordon then asked Briggs if he would produce Easy Action, to which he agreed. Of course it was for naught, as a record label, Zappa Straight Records refused to use Briggs' tapes, according to Gordon, instead choosing again to use the rehearsal tapes. Now, I found this in two articles, but I didn't find it anywhere where, I don't know, that's crazy. So I don't know if this isn't really the version. I don't know. Gordon claimed that the rehearsal tapes for Easy Action were used to ensure that the album would not appeal to a wider audience, as Frank Zappa, whose record label it was, had been given millions by Warner to sign new artists, and they failed to be a success. He wouldn't have to pay out royalties. I'll let you do with that what you want. All right, all tracks are written by Alice Cooper, Glenn Buxton, Michael Bruce, Dennis Dunaway, and Neil Smith. All right, if you've never been on this before, the music will not be in the video, but it'll be a Vimeo link below. So click on that and follow along with us. Let's kick it off. Mr. and Miss Demeanor. I'm going to have the lyrics up as always. Thanks again, Carl. All right, Mr. and Miss Demeanor. Get a little bit of that signature growl of Alice, but also, I mean, he sounds very good. This one musically, I mean, you can just tell the production. It's been produced. Nothing on the first album was produced. So nice little arrangement on here. The mixing is a little, and it's just because, they didn't have a big budget, man. That's not their fault, but a much better song. Nobody likes them. What is the line here that made me laugh? Nobody likes me, but we adore you. Da, 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 yeah, yeah, yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool, but much more encouraging than the debut album. All right, let's go to Shoe Salesman. All right, Shoe Salesman. Lyrics are basically nonsensical, but Alice sounds great. The piano is actually played by producer David Briggs. This was the lead single. It did not chart. There's nothing on here that charted. The album didn't chart, nothing charted, but kind of a Beatles type influence on here. It would have been, I know these guys were hugely influenced by the Beatles, but who wasn't during this period of time that grew up in that time? But, another good song. I thought Mr. and Miss Demeanor probably would have been a better lead single, but it was good. Next up, we got Still No Air. Cooper and Dunaway were fond of the musical film West Side Story, and quotes from the film appear in this song, like, got a rock in your pocket. When you're a jet all the way. I know this was a song when I read some stuff that critics absolutely hated, but sometimes critics are right, sometimes they're not. All right, Still No Air. The critics were right. I hated that song. The lyrics were absolutely nonsensical. I'm going to do like they threw in the West Side Story stuff. It was interesting, though. It kept you engaged. I hated that repeating riff from the second it got on there. I just didn't like that song. It could have fit on the first album. It didn't sound like a finished product. But hey, that's okay. You're not going to love every song. And if you love that song, more power to you. Now we're going to finish out the A side already, but this is long. This is almost 7 minutes long. Below Your Means, Michael Bruce singing lead vocals here. All right, it's got 22 seconds left, but we've already had 45 seconds of fade out. This song is entirely too long. I do like the bluesy guitar work. I thought the instrumentation on here was really good. It could have been a good song. It's just way too long. It sounds like it should have been on the first album. Like they didn't go back to the cutting room floor. Like there's no reason for this song to be 7 minutes long. Just that same repeating riff and then fading out for what looks like a minute and a half. But Michael Bruce sounds fine. So we're 2 for 4 on side 1 for me, which is a much better percentage than the first album. And these songs were not horrible. I mean, I didn't like the last song at all. This song wasn't horrible or anything. It just could have been better. The songwriting on this album is Mr. and Misdemeanor was good. The rest of it is just not great. Let's go to side 2. We got another single. Remember, none of them charted. We got Return of the Spiders. All right, Return of the Spiders. I liked Alice's vocal delivery, right? Kind of the growly, gruff, like Mr. and Misdemeanor. Mr. and Misdemeanor is refined out a little more. So I like that. I thought it was, the first half of the song was really good. I feel like we're trying to just lengthen these songs artificially on this album with these. I didn't think the arrangement of this was very good. I thought it was a little sloppy. I thought it could have been better. And then we're just running off all these things. They're not even like produced. It just seems like we're just improvising whatever as we run it off. But, definitely had possibilities, this song. A good way to start this side too. Next up, we have Laughing at Me. So, that song could have been longer. I liked some Beatles influence, some Bowie influence on this. I mean, I don't know that Bowie was influenced, and Bowie wasn't big then. They were influencing Bowie, I imagine, but I just mean it sounds Bowie-esque, sort of. But that one could have been longer. All right, interesting song title, Refrigerator Heaven. All right, Refrigerator Heaven. Some people say it's about a cancer patient being frozen so they can find a cure for their ailment. So that sort of makes sense in there. I mean, you have a little cancer mention if you read it in that light, I guess. But a pretty well done song. I like that one. We got 2 tracks left. Michael Bruce on lead vocals again on this one. We got Beautiful Flyaway. Beautiful Flyaway. Another song that could have been longer. It seems like the ones that don't need to be long or longer and vice versa. But great piano. Michael Bruce putting the piano to work here. He's singing it. He sounds a lot like Alice, just a little smoother. But I thought that was well done, man. The piano work was extraordinary. All right, now we got the album closer, and I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little worried about it. It's 7.5 minutes long. Lay Down and Die. Goodbye. It was originally written and recorded as a single B-side by the band when it was originally called Nas. Begins with a sample of Tom Smothers saying, "You are the only censor. If you don't like what I'm saying, you have a choice. You can turn me off." So Smothers, the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour, I think it's before my time, but they were very famous back then. All right, let's close this thing out. All right, Lay Down and Die, Goodbye. I absolutely, totally hated that song with a passion. The only redeeming part was at least at the end where it sounded a little Black Sabbath. The 7.5 minutes, like, why put this on there? It should have been on the first one. Like, no rhyme, reason, direction, anything. It was so bad. It's such a horrible way to end an album that had some promise. I guess that's all I'll do on that, right? Enough of the hate. Now we'll go to my favorite tracks. I didn't have any on the last time. I do. Honorable mention, Beautiful Flyaway and Shoe Salesman. And then favorite tracks are Laughing at Me and Mr. and Misdemeanor. So this had some more promise. Obviously, it can't be as bad as the first one. Several missteps. Not sure they were their fault either. That last song has to go. I know they're trying to get the album to a certain way, and it felt like they were stretching out the bad songs longer, and the good ones could have went for more. So what do they need, boys and girls? They still need a better producer. They had a better one here by far. They need a better one, and by all accounts, they're going to get one on the next album. Overall score on this record, I'm going to be right at a 5. Right at a 5. I mean, it was fine. It showed a lot of promise where they could go. A couple of those songs, Alice's vocals, man, you get it. I wanted to shout out Dennis Dunaway on the bass. There's a lot of good bass on here. I just didn't point it out during the songs, but I mean, you can tell they had the musicianship there, even when I whine about the arrangement. It's not that they're bad. It just has no direction, but not bad. 5.0. Let me know what you think of this album down below. We're going to continue this journey next month where I expect it to start to really ramp up in quality. Thanks again to Carl for bringing it. Until next time, guys, I will see you.